personal injury court.
A loud crash and bang, and her car had come through the garage. Boom. And before I knew it, I was pinned up against the toolbox.
Your injuries are massive.
Massive.
You are suing for $1,200,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
My life flashed before my eyes, too, Your Honor.
Shouldn't have been behind the vehicle in the first place. It's negligence.
Spongy brakes and leaking fluid. That's a bad condition.
Sir, the work you did is not holding up.
I don't believe anybody would intend to do something like this to anybody, but somebody's responsible.
Judge Tino Brogdon spent 10 years on the bench ruling on cases worth billions of dollars. Now he presides over some of the largest claims in TV history. This is Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Allen versus Hunt. Mr. Allen, it's my understanding that you are suing Miss Hunt for severe injuries you suffered when she struck you with her car while you were at work. You're asking this court to award you $300,000 for past medical expenses, $250,000 for future medical expenses, $300,000 for pain and suffering, and $350,000 for lost wages, for a total award of $1.2 million. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Hunt, you believe that this is not your fault. Your brakes were faulty and you just had no control of your car, but this is certainly not something you caused. True?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, let's get into the legal sauce. Tell me how this happened.
Well, Your Honor, I'm a mechanic. Ever since I was 6, 7 years old, I worked in my father's garage. I worked there through middle school, high school. I became certified as a mechanic in my 20s, got my own shop.
So cars are in your blood?
Absolutely. Always have been, my whole family. My mom was the bookkeeper of my dad's garage. I work on large trucks mainly. RVs, tractor trailers, dump trucks, garbage trucks, things like that.
You sound like a specialist.
I am a specialist, sir. There's not too many people around that do what I do. So I get to do a lot of contract work on the side outside of working in my own shop.
So how did you end up in this shop on this day?
They needed some specialty work done on an RV. And I was the only guy available to do it. I'd done some work with them in the past, and so they hired me in on an hourly basis to come in and do the work, and I just charge them my time. And so that's how I ended up there, just trying to make a little extra money on the weekend.
Ms. Hunt, what brought you to the shop this day?
I noticed that my vehicle was acting funny. The brakes were getting spongy when I was driving to work a couple days before the accident happened.
And what kind of work do you do?
I'm actually a registered nurse for 17 years. I help people. I don't hurt people. I've done everything from auto accidents of this sort. I work from 24 to 48 hours at a time. I'm an ER nurse. Heart attacks, everything coming in. I've seen it all.
You've seen it all.
I have.
Well, ER nurses are in the trenches.
That is very true.
So, Mr. Allen, tell me how this happened.
Well, I was doing contract work at this garage. They needed work on an RV, and I was kind of the only guy around who does that kind of work.
Okay.
And I needed a specialty wrench for what I was doing, a torque wrench, an oversized torque wrench. And so I asked one of the employees there, where is one? He says it's over there between these two cars in a toolbox. So I come walking around the car, and the next thing I know, a loud crash, and bang. And before I knew it, I was pinned up against the toolbox, and her car had come through the garage and slammed me up against the toolbox.
So this is inside the bays?
Inside the bays, as we'll see from the video.
Yes, you've submitted a video to this court. Let's take a peek at it.
This is me at the top of the screen, walking toward the car. It doesn't take long. Boom.
Now that is not supposed to happen. I know that surprised you beyond explanation.
Well, you don't have too much time to think about it. All of a sudden you're passed out. I mean, I remember debris. I remember a little bit of yelling, but soon after the incident, I was out.
My life flashed before my eyes too, Your Honor. Could you imagine how scary that is when you have no control over a vehicle? Just completely out of control.
I want to be where you are instead of where he is.
Yes.
Yes, sir, but when you don't have...
He is lucky to be alive.
I understand that. I see that every day, Your Honor. I help people every single day of my life. I come from a family. My father is a doctor. My
Miss
hit
Hunt,
the
this
ground
could be
running.
a death case, though. You understand?
I do understand that, and I feel so sorry
You
for
should know
you.
better being an ER nurse not to drive on faulty brakes.
They were just getting spongy, sir. I worked for many, many hours, and I felt it on my way home.
That you should have had a tow truck come get it or call a professional out like me.
I want to slow this down. Now tell me, that's you being circled there?
That's me in the circle. Going to find the wrench. There's a toolbox in between those two cars. You can see how much time I had to react.
And Miss Hunt, that's you coming through in that white car, right?
That is my vehicle, yes, with no brakes.
Mr. Allen, you could have lost your life this day.
I thought for sure I would lose my life. I mean, again, you don't have much time to think about it, but
Now,
when you wake
said-
up in the hospital and you realize how lucky you are to even be alive, the doctors just...
You said you were pinned. What were you pinned to?
I was pinned to a toolbox. One of the large industrial toolboxes, in between the car and the toolbox.
So you got the car in your chest and your back's on the toolbox.
Yes, large tools had fallen on top of me. From what I was told, I don't remember hardly much of it. Smoke and dust and debris everywhere. People were yelling. Somewhere in the confusion, I passed out.
Your
or
Honor.
knocked out or whatever. I was out.
You've already got $300,000 in past medicals.
Easy.
Your Honor.
You're looking at another $250,000 for future medicals.
Easy amount.
Coming up.
Well, I broke 2 vertebrae in my back. I actually broke both of my arms. I broke my femur on my left leg. I don't know how many rib injuries I have.
Your injuries are massive.
Massive.
What put you in the car?
I finally had a day off. They already worked on my brakes.
You should not have been driving a car with
They
spongy
already-
brakes, man.
I still have them under warranty. That's why I called the same shop.
This shop worked on your brakes?
You shouldn't have been behind the vehicle in the first place. It's negligent.
You've already got $300,000 in past medicals.
Easy.
Your Honor.
You're looking at another $250,000 for future medicals.
Easy amount.
Tell me about your injuries.
Oh, goodness. Well, I broke 2 vertebrae in my back. I actually broke both of my arms. In my left arm here, I broke my radius and my ulna bone. I broke my radius in my right arm. I broke my femur on my left leg. Broke my tibia on my right leg. I don't know how many rib injuries I have. The ribs were shattered and, shot to bits.
Your injuries are massive.
Massive. And I've had multiple reconstructive surgeries. I still have many more to come. Goodness knows how many. The toughest part is getting to rehab. I'm going to have to rehab for years, probably 3 to 4 years, they said, before I could even get around and do what I would normally do again. And then there's no guarantee that is even ever going to happen.
According to the medical reports that you've submitted to this court, you got a minimum of 3 years of rehab.
At least. At least. And they don't even know what the outcome's going to be, so who knows? It could be forever, for all I know.
Ms. Hunt, you see, this is a life-changing event for this young man. You see that?
Yes, I do, Your
What
Honor.
put you in the car?
I finally had a day off, and this is another thing I had to add to my list of having the first day off in almost a month that I had to take the car in now for the spongy brakes. On the same auto place, they already worked on my brakes.
You should not have been driving a car with spongy brakes, man.
They already worked on the brakes. It is the same problem that I had once before.
So these folks already, this shop worked on
Yes,
your
sir, and I
brakes?
still have them under warranty. That's why I called the same shop that he was working
Now
at.
you're waving something. What is that?
This is the receipt of them working on my car 6 months ago. I have a warranty for a year.
Sheriff Matt, could
Yes,
you get
what?
the receipt from Ms. Hunt?
When I pulled out that morning, I drove with my hazards on. I was very safe driving all the way from the hospital. May I finish, sir? I drove from the hospital to my home.
How
And
can you
I
be
drove
safe?
to the auto place with my hazards on, very gentle. People were going around me left and right.
You were
It was-
concerned.
I was very concerned for my safety.
You shouldn't have been behind the vehicle in the first place. It's negligence. You
Well, I'm
can't-
looking at this invoice that you gave me, and it shows that the issue was spongy brakes and leaking fluid. That's a bad condition.
And it's the same condition that I had again. And
Bad enough where you shouldn't be driving on
I
a
drove
car.
it there the first time for them to fix it.
Y'all
I figured
talk
I
to
could
me.
drive it the second time as well, sir. I apologize for interrupting.
Next.
There was a car flying, going a little bit faster, I believe, than what normal parking speed would be.
I don't think I should be responsible for this. I'm very sorry.
What's been the worst of your experience?
Obviously, I can't work, and the financial burden, along with the obvious emotional and physical burdens, we're in trouble. Walking toward the car, it doesn't take long. Whoa,
Your injuries are massive.
massive.
It shows that the issue was spongy brakes and leaking fluid. That's a bad condition.
And it's the same condition that I had again. And
Bad enough where you shouldn't be driving on
I
a
drove
real
there the first time for them to fix it.
Yeah,
I figured I'd be driving the second time as well, sir.
It is clear that you had a lot of work done. The
Yes, sir.
brake master cylinder was replaced. They obviously replaced the brake fluid. Wow, $312.08.
Yes, sir.
That's real work. You thought at this time, though, the problem had been solved.
Yes, sir. That's why I talked to the same gentleman that actually worked on the car previously.
Okay.
He came out, he said, ma'am, you gotta move that car, you gotta move that car. I'm like, sir, the work you did is not holding up. I made it here with my hazards very safely, and he's still telling me to move the car. They have more people coming.
So you went to pull the car up.
They had me move the car again, and I mean, the brakes, there was no brakes left whatsoever.
completely
It didn't
failed.
matter who was driving that vehicle, sir. There was no controlling it. And then the wall disappeared, and this gentleman was right there. And I couldn't believe it.
I know this has been hard on you. I know this has been hard on you, but I gotta figure out legal responsibility.
Yes, sir.
Miss Hunt, how is it that you get up this kind of speed? Look at this.
It comes down into the spots.
And there's other
But it
techniques.
looks like you got your foot on the gas.
Are you? That's
It
not
was just
parking
there was
speed.
no stopping. It just kept on going. There was no stopping. Believe me, I thought my life was
Folks,
going to
this
end
is
as
as
well.
bizarre as it gets.
It was a negligent
Bizarre
speed.
as it gets.
I'm really sorry for your injuries, but there is no control of that vehicle. It was to the floor. I was scared
Mr.
for
Allen,
my
you heard
life.
that. She apologized to you. You know she didn't intend this, right?
Not whatsoever.
I don't believe anybody would intend to do something like this to anybody, but
Sure.
somebody's responsible.
She did the responsible thing, take her car in, leave it to the professionals to fix her brakes. Then she was also responsible in bringing it back when the brakes started to be spongy. It sounds like she was trying to be careful, at least until she drove through the Bay Area.
That she shouldn't have driven the car to the shop in the first place. You're an ER nurse. You know what happened?
I made it there. I stopped. I got out to tell someone to come look at the vehicle. They told me to move it again.
So if you hadn't been asked to move the car,
Yes,
this
sir.
never would have happened.
I don't think I should be responsible for this. I'm very sorry for your injuries,
Come to
sir. But if I didn't have to
in the
move
first
that
place, it
car,
never would have happened.
Talk
When
to
you do
me.
that spongy brakes.
I can't hear y'all when you talk at the same time.
Yes.
I know you have been through a lot, Mr. Allen. I see that. But I gotta hear Miss Hunt too, okay?
Yes, sir.
You've asked this court to give you $300,000 for pain and suffering. What's been the worst of your experience?
I mean, just the effect on the family. I mean, we have a two-income household normally. Obviously, I can't work, and they're saying it's going to be at least 3 years. My job requires me to climb on top of big trucks and move heavy equipment and machinery and tools around.
Yeah, this is
I'm not
big
going to be able to do that. My wife is professional, but since I'm more or less bedridden, she can't work as much either. So the financial burden, along with the obvious emotional and physical burdens, are just, we're in trouble.
This is big.
This is big. I mean, it's pretty much wrecked.
Well, like most
Everything.
American families, going from 2 incomes to 1 income nearly destroys them.
Not even one income. My wife can't work as much as she did before because she's got to look after me. I got to have her feed me and cook for me. And
Miss Hunt, what's going through your mind about this whole thing?
Sir, when I pulled up and that gentleman had me move that car again, and I was barely moving. There's a little downhill ramp. I was going to the left, but there was no control. I'm losing my mind at this point. I'm like, I couldn't believe it wouldn't stop. The only thing I could think of was maybe brush against the building to slow the vehicle down. I mean, I've never had experienced that before where you drive. I've been driving my entire life since I was 17. I've never had my brakes go to the floor. And it's just unfortunate he had to be there at the wrong time. Right there. I mean,
This was definitely the wrong
I
time.
feel so bad for you, sir, but it is not my fault.
One of the challenges of being a judge is that a case can be very tragic, and it impresses me and it weighs heavy on my heart. I can see that this is heavy for both of you.
I'm so sorry.
But I've got to decide legal responsibility, and that's what I'm about to do. I've heard what I need to hear, and I'm ready to render my decision.
The verdict is in.
You need no further proof about the severity of your injuries. You were there doing your job, and without warning, a car came flying through the bay and flipped your life upside down forever. Miss Hunt, I know you did not mean to do this. I know that you moved this car because an employee asked you to move the car. Otherwise, you would have stayed safe. The law looks at everything, all of the potential causes, but it assigns responsibility based on the responsible cause.
I don't believe anybody would intend to do something like this to anybody, but somebody's responsible. Somebody
Your Honor,
was negligent for her to be in the vehicle in the first place.
they told me to move it again.
So if you hadn't been asked to move the car,
Yes,
this
sir.
never would have
I
happened.
don't think I should be responsible for this. I'm very sorry for your injury, sir.
I've heard what I need to hear, and I'm ready to render my decision. Folks, in every personal injury case, the plaintiff has to prove basically three things. It's like a three-legged stool. If you prove all three things, your stool stands and you win. You must prove, one, that the defendant was wrong, and that the defendant's wrong caused your injuries. You need no further proof about the severity of your injuries. Here, my job is to figure out whether Miss Hunt was wrong. You've put up evidence that you were absolutely innocent. You were there doing your job, and without warning, a car came flying through the bay and flipped your life upside down forever. Miss Hunt, I know you did not mean to do this. I know that you moved this car because an employee asked you to move the car. Otherwise, you would have stayed safe the way you tried to since the brakes became spongy. The law looks at everything, all of the potential causes, but it assigns responsibility based on the responsible cause. You make good decisions all the way up until the employee asked you to move the car near the bays. There, it invokes the principle of law, and frankly, something my daddy used to tell me. When you know better, you do better. You knew these brakes were faulty, that's why you brought the car there. The other thing that kind of got me, you came into that bay at high speed. I don't know how you do that without making a bad decision. I must find against you and in favor of the plaintiff for everything you've asked for, even though I know you did not intend this. So I find in your favor, Mr. Allen, for your past medical expenses of $300,000, your future medical expenses of $250,000, your pain and suffering for $300,000, your lost wages for $350,000, for a total award of $1,200,000. And that is my final verdict. This matter is adjourned.
Okay.